All right, folks, welcome in to another episode of JE Live following the Rams. That's right. That I believe that team that was supposed to be an early exit. How'd that go? The Rams win, obviously, 27-9. Never had any doubts. I felt really confident going into this game. No, I hate to break it to you. Not that I am the only one that knows this, but Dan Campbell will not be seeing Kevin O'Connell in 2 weeks. That's just not in the cards unless they lose to the Commanders, right? I think that would be 2 weeks. So, yeah, that's how that went down. But what a game, just thinking about everything that went down. It's been a really, really tough week for the city of Los Angeles and, the surrounding area. Well, just the area, the community of LA. I mean, we kind of just call LA, what really is LA? I feel like it's just everything in that kind of SoCal area. And I mean, they've gone through so much. And, if you're here, you're probably one of those people, and my heart goes out to you. And it was a very interesting week. I don't feel like I necessarily covered this game nearly as much as I wanted to, but the priority for me was raising money for the LA wildfire relief, and I'm proud to say that we raised almost $17,000 to this point. That still is in play, so if anybody does want to donate, the link should be in the description, and it is not, so I will get that in there. But yeah, it's been a wild week, and it's just, this was a huge win. And this is where, when people say it's just a game, like, it's true, you are reminded that it is just a game. But there are things like this where, this thing comes up, and, it's the same thing when the Saints won after Hurricane Katrina. I mean, you can't minimize the impact, a winning team or just something giving some joy, emanating some joy in a community can do. And this was, when they say they won it for the city, they're not kidding. This was definitely one for the city. I just think it was so impressive from the get-go. This was truly a domination, a complete dominating performance. The text that I used in the graphic was unflappable. And I just think, if you don't know what that means, unflappable is having or showing calmness in a crisis. I don't think I could encapsulate anything better than that. What we just saw tonight was unflappable. This Rams team was unflappable. Nothing bothered this team. At no point did I think they were going to lose. At no point did they look like they were getting outplayed. They dominated this entire game, despite the fact that the officiating was so one-sided. It was ridiculous. And, I don't want to be one of those people. I don't want to sit here and complain about the officiating after, the Rams just won an 18-point game. But the point here is that it was one-sided. I have the stats right here to back it up. I mean, you talk about a penalty disparity of 10 penalties for 95 yards on the Rams and 2 for 20 against the Vikings. It allowed the Vikings to have more of a time of possession. They were able to take control, at parts, but they were never able to take over the game. They ran 20 more plays in the Rams offense, and that is because of the stalled drives. I mean, the Rams, many times, they get into territory, whether that's red zone or getting close to it, and there's a hold. And you could call a hold on every play, but I expect those to come back, and they just never did. It was not very boomerang. It was very, okay, let's just call it on the Rams. We'll try to keep them in it. But, man, that was pathetic, absolutely pathetic. So, regardless, Rams win 27-9. They move on. They beat the 14-win Vikings team. One of the toughest wildcard games in any iteration anyone will ever have to play. I don't care that they were the 4 seed, okay? The Vikings didn't get the road game that was, promised, essentially. The Vikings arguably got at least a neutral field game but it could have been a home game. I mean, the Vikings definitely showed up, and so did the Rams, by the way. The Rams fans were incredible, and you heard them, especially when the Rams took over from the get-go. But that doesn't, kind of take away from the fact the Vikings fans showed up, and the Vikings, they were in a much better position to make some, stuff and everything. They were in a much better position to win this game and everything that they were going through. So let me just be honest here. When it comes to the Rams, this team at no point this year has really shown the ability to go out there and just dominate a team like this. They had a 17-point lead against the Bills. They gave it up. They just haven't had this performance. The score does not indicate how truly dominant they were in this game. This is 27-9. This could have been like a 41-10 ball game, something like that, 41-9 ball game, whatever. They dominated this team, and that's why I'm so proud of this win, because I think this really just goes to show you that while Andy Reid is very, very good, there's not a coach in the league I would take over Sean McVay. I do believe Sean McVay is the best head coach in the National Football League because of what he's been able to do. And he didn't just get gifted Patrick Mahomes. And look, I understand Andy Reid didn't get gifted Patrick Mahomes, but since he's had Mahomes, look at the success he's had. Did he have that with Alex Smith? That's the thing. I mean, he had success in Philly, don't get me wrong, but when you look, you had Jared Goff, who looked like that was going to be a raging success, falls off a cliff. You trade him, you get Stafford. Stafford was told, because you can't backtrack now, the media told you Stafford was a guy that could not win the big game. He couldn't win a playoff game. Well, guess what? He won 4 playoff games in a row. And then he lost a playoff game in 2023 by 1 point. That's his only loss with the Rams in the playoffs. Then he comes out and wins this one. And the weird thing is, people are going to look at the box score and you'll be able to tell who actually watched this game and who didn't. And they're not really going to look at the flow of the game. They're going to look at the fact that Sam Darnold had more passing yards than Matthew Stafford. And Matthew Stafford didn't throw the ball nearly as much. Matthew Stafford took care of the football, but only 209 passing yards. Kyron Williams didn't even rush for 80 yards in this game. However, 4.8 yards per carry was great. They're going to look at things like that. They're going to look at the fact that the leading receiver was Tyler Higbee. What they might not realize is that I think this game could have been a lot worse than not just the officiating. Like, let's be honest here, not just the officiating we're talking about. This game could have been a lot worse if Tyler Higbee doesn't go down with a chest contusion. When Tyler Higbee went down, the offense kind of lost its flair. Now, that is something that we will get into over the course of the week, but I don't want to take anything away from what they did. This was a dominant performance, considering the fact that they didn't know where they were going to play this game. They didn't know where they were going to practice. They didn't know if their house was okay, their family was okay, their area was okay. And all the while having to focus on a game that was coming up very quickly and having to do it on a Monday night. Not easy. So I don't care what anyone says. This Rams team, regardless of what they do from here on out, they overcame one of the toughest games I think anybody in any iteration could ever have. 14-win team, having to play them in the wild card is almost unprecedented. So that was that. Then you lose your home playoff game that you clearly were going to dominate in terms of fans. The Rams fans, at one point it was reported that they'd have 80% Rams fans at SoFi. You lose that because it gets rescheduled to Arizona at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, excuse me. And then not only that, but you find out like Thursday or Friday, oh yeah, by the way, that practice facility, yeah, the air, all of that, not great quality. We're going to move you to Arizona now. So they go to Arizona, they finish out their practicing and preparation, and here you are. Everything is on you. All the pressure's on you. All these Rams fans, they're being bussed in and everything from LA. They're going out of their way to see this game. There was a lot of pressure riding on this game for the Rams. And they came out, and it's just, like I said, unflappable. You never, at one point, you never once felt like, wow, this is too big for them. And man, this is just cool story. It would have been really nice for them to get this win, but man, it's just not in the cards. And, you just tip your cap to the Vikings. They're just a really good football team. It's why they won 14 games. That never happened, ever. The Rams controlled the game all the way through. That was the thing. It was so impressive, so awe-inspiring. The defense was absolutely insane. And oh, by the way, nullify week 18 because they weren't actually playing their starters for the majority of the game. When you look at the last 3 games before that, they had not given up 10 points. They had not given up more than 10 points. Guess what? Once again, under 10 points. It's one thing to say, oh, they went up against the Jets and the Cardinals are out of the playoffs and the 49ers are terrible. It's another to do it against a 14-win Vikings team that has been one of the better offenses in the league, that has Justin Jefferson, who's arguably the best wide receiver in football, have arguably the best duo of receivers in football with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. TJ Hawkinson was healthy this time. That was an excuse Vikings fans used. Blake Cashman was healthy this time. Not that it had anything to do with the defense, but the point is they had everyone that they needed to have. They've had Cam Robinson for a while now, so they were able to overcome that, the whole thing with Darisaw. And the Rams just didn't care. They didn't. They asserted their dominance. This is a 10-3 ball game, turns into 17-3, then 24-3 at the half. And they only scored one time, a field goal in the second half, but it was just coast. It really just felt like they were coasting. They were dominating. They almost set a record for playoff sacks. There would have been 10. They finished with 9. It's just crazy game. And all the while, Puka Nacua was held to 44 yards. Cooper Kupp had 29 yards, right? Higbee was the leading receiver at 58. But the defense was just so good. And I mean, what can you say about this defense? You got Kobe Turner, who was just insane. Felt like he only got what? They only gave him, how many sacks they give Kobe? They give 2? I think they gave him 2. I thought he got 3. Kobe Turner set the tone. Then how about Kobe on Kobe crime? Kobe Durant, also interception, huge. Sack, huge. Ahkello Witherspoon, strip sack, huge. By the way, the only time that 2 corners in a game had a sack since 1982, which is crazy in a playoff game. Neville Gallimore. How about he picked the time to have the best game of his career, definitely the season. Byron Young looked really good, played through the pain. Michael Hoyt had a half sack. Desjuan Johnson had a sack at the end of the game. Braden Fisk got in there. And Jared Verse, no sacks, but he came through in a big way. A lot of pressure. Cannot wait to look at those numbers. And just the scoop and score, the flip into the end zone, which some people didn't like, but man, that was some flair right there. You had 4 pass breakups between John Johnson at the end of the game, which was awesome to see him get some work. Kobe Durant, Darius Williams had 2. I thought Kello was great against Justin Jefferson. Just some great coverage. So yeah, I mean, it was wild. It really was. Just some great play. The defense was just so dominant, putting so much pressure on Sam Darnold. He tried to get off his first read. By the time he got off his first read and tried to go through his progressions, boom, Braden Fisk is in his face, or Jared Verse, or Byron Young, or Michael Hoyt, or it's a blitz, and you got Quentin Lake, or Cam Kinchins, or Cam Curl, or Kello, no wonder anybody would have struggled there. So it just crazy. I can't stress enough. Chris Shula has this defense playing at an elite level right now. I think this is one of the scariest teams in the playoffs, and their offense just, it just feels to me, like this offense hasn't quite reached where it can be. We saw glimpses of that, and say what you will about the offense not being what you wanted it to be over the course of the full game. The point here is that they got the ball rolling and they got that quick start, and right away they're up 7-0. They just put a lot of pressure on the Vikings right out of the gate. This is a completely different game. Potentially, if the Vikings get a stop on the Rams, they get a turnover, something like that, this could have been a different ball game. But the Rams coming out and establishing their dominance right away and having one of the best drives we've seen all season from the offense, that set the tone. Then you have the pass rush. Then you have the coverage. It was just really impressive. It was a collective unit. It was all three phases. It was coaching. It was veteran leadership. It was young guys stepping up, guys that nobody wanted, showing everybody that they should have wanted them to begin with. And I mean guys like Jalen McCullough, guys like Christian Roseboom. They were flying all over the field. I mean, you had 10 tackles for a loss. Now, of course, tackles for a loss are pretty much also, most of them are going to be sacks anyway. But that's huge, right? So just really impressed with this group. I just continue to see just more and more and more. They're getting better and better and better. Now, the question here is Tyler Higbee going to be okay? What does that look like? I think he's really key and critical. I think Akello Witherspoon will be good to go this weekend, but we'll see what ends up happening. That looked like a hamstring injury, so the hope is he'll be okay. But man, they're definitely banged up and everything. But what a win! Absolutely dominant performance. The Vikings only had 4 losses on the entire year. 2 of them were against the Lions, and 2 of them were against the Rams, back to back. I think too many people were giving Sam Darnold a little bit of a pass, and I don't mean to throw any shade on him, but almost like this assumption where week 18 is okay. It was bad, but they're going to bounce back. This team had no chance. None. The Rams came out with a fire and energy. You saw it. They were motivated. It was just, they were jolted, man. It was crazy. So look, underdogs, sure, right? Shouldn't have been there. You only beat us out because you had the 5th tiebreaker, whatever Seattle fans want to say. But do you think the Seattle Seahawks win that game? Because I definitely don't believe the Seattle Seahawks win that game, and definitely not the way the Rams did. What's really bizarre, folks, is you might not even be aware of this. First off, this is the first first playoff win. I said that earlier. First playoff win that the Rams have had since the Super Bowl. Okay? So must feel good to get back in the win column, obviously. In addition to that, okay, the Rams, they become the last 4 teams. Once again, 4 straight 4-seeded teams to beat a 5 seed in the playoffs. Those 4-seeded teams have outscored the 5 136-44. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, the 4 seed versus the 5 seed, the 4 seed has absolutely dominated their competition. Dominated. So just kind of a crazy game. Turnovers, tons of sacks, explosives. The penalties were absurd, but I'm beyond proud of this team, man. I really am. I think just, end of the day, you have to feel really good about where the Rams are at. And they get Philly next week. And it's not going to be easy, but I'll tell you right now, if you get that Rams team, you get Higbee back healthy, you get Akello healthy, Kyron, figures out his ankle because that didn't look great, although he kept playing. But if you get healthy or healthy enough and you play that style of football and that defense continues to do what they're doing, we're going to have a different result in the rematch against the Eagles. And what a lot of people might not realize is that since that Eagles game, the Rams have not lost. Okay, I don't care about the Seahawks game. Throw that game in the water. If they won that game, great. But they didn't have their starters out there. The games that they were trying to win with all their starters out there, they won them. No one expected it. No one thought they were going to beat the Bills and beat the 49ers and beat the Cardinals and the Seahawks and beat all those teams. Of course, they lost the Seahawks because they sat their guys. But there are people like, this is a trap game against the Jets. Okay, they traveled 3,000 miles away and they won. Like, I give a lot of respect to, the Vikings, and I think they had a good team, but I think they ran into a buzzsaw, and I think the Eagles have a chance to do the same. The big thing I noticed when I've been watching the Rams since that Eagles game is, for whatever reason, teams do not try to run the ball the way the Eagles did. So that, to me, when you look at that game, that is a little bit of a concern. Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the NFL currently. Okay? So when you look at just the way he's able to run, the offensive line, I said this before, the Eagles were outclassing the Rams in terms of their ability to win around the line of scrimmage. They operated the line of scrimmage well. It's why they won 37-20. Okay? When I was at SoFi, I saw this hands-on. 255 yards rushing by Saquon Barkley. So the Rams are going to have a game plan here. They're going to have to stop him. They're going to have to be aware of him, but also they're going to have to be aware of the fact that the Eagles are going to use that to their advantage, because you have to key in on Saquon. Now other opportunities might arise. I just think right now, as long as the Rams play their style of football, they'll beat anybody. This is a defensive-minded team right now with one of the best quarterbacks for the situation. There's not a quarterback I would take over Matthew Stafford in January, in February, right? If they get there. And I do believe they're going to get there. There's just not a quarterback I would take over Stafford. I saw something Sosa Cremenius posted. Let's see. Where was it? Let me find this, because I really liked what he posted. Let's see. McVay did confirm Tyler Higbee is at the hospital in stable condition, going to be okay. So I guess maybe that was a scare. They need him bad, though. You saw it. They really missed him. Man, he was making catch after catch, it seemed like. They really got him going. I love the game plan. I am going to get into more of the, nuance and all that over the course of the week. I just don't want to be negative, because we're talking about positive things here. This is a huge win for this organization, a huge win for this fan base, huge win for the city of LA. So the last thing I'm going to do is try to nullify that by talking about the negative. But Matthew Stafford's 18-3 in the months of December, January, and February as an LA Ram. 18-3. Are you serious? That dude is untouchable. I mean, that's basically what I'm hearing, right? I think that's fair to say. So, yeah. Not bad. No, exactly. So let's read some super chats here. Joshua, thank you for the 1. Appreciate that. Derek with the 5. Great game, Jake. City of LA needed this win, and I agree officiating was bad. Thank you, Derek. I appreciate that. Zaylor Swift, love the name. Thank you for the 5. Very fun game. Verse touchdown was Kamara at its finest. Refs were making it very odd, to say the least, on to Philly. Absolutely. Matthew with the 5. Thank you. Not sure, but I think those 9 sacks are tied for the most in a playoff game. They are. Also, O-line has given up 1 sack in 4 games, I think. I think it's 5. But yeah. And I think Stafford really just he hung on to the ball knowing, I can't turn the ball over here. We have a field goal. And sure enough, Cardi drilled it. He's hit 15 straight field goals. Let's cut that guy, right? Brian Beadle, thank you for the 5. Love you, Jake. Love you too. Last 4 games with our starters were single-digit games. Will Weatherspoon play in Philadelphia? I think he's going to, but I don't have any inside knowledge on that. So we'll find out what ends up happening. I hope he does. They need him, just like they need Higbee. They need all hands on deck. Every single person is a key and critical point to this team. You saw Hunter Long's value in this game. Obviously, I don't want him running, these deep goes over guys like Tutu Atwell and Jordan Whittington, but Hunter Long came through a big catch on a 3rd down too. Then you look over at, guys like Ronnie Rivers, and they showed their presence in this game. Just everybody has a role. Neville Gallimore. Neville Gallimore hasn't done anything. Why is he playing? And then he gets a sack and a half in this one and looks really good and was, among the top guys in tackles. I mean, these guys can all play. I hope people realize how good this team truly is. I hope people realize how much talent this is. And I hope people realize how freaking good this coaching staff is. Because once again, you can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't have a coaching staff, no one gives a rip. I mean, this game, by the way, should serve as an example to anybody. And I mean no disrespect when I say this. I like Mike Tomlin. I do. But if you are a Steeler, if you're the Steelers owner, how do you not look at tonight's game? The Rams going through everything they went through, being asked to train in a different facility, play at a different facility, relinquish their home game essentially, while still, Cardinals did a great job, and I'll get to that, giving them credit, because they gained so much respect from me. But anyway, everything that's going on, all the variables going on, these people are not sacrificing, but, well, there is a sacrifice there, but they're evacuating their homes. All of that going against a 14-win team, and they dominated it. And the Steelers, they lost, 5 straight? And you want to tell me, they should just stick with Mike Tomlin? They haven't won a playoff game in 8 years, I think it is. It just continues to go on and on and on. I've been a defender of Mike Tomlin, but at some point you got to stick your foot in the ground and say, look, enough is enough. And this, I really do believe tonight could get a coach fired in this league. And I'm not wishing that on anybody. But how do you not at least reevaluate, reassess your situation when you see what Sean McVay got done today? When you see that he's had a different defensive coordinator or an offensive coordinator, one of the two, every single year he's been a head coach. And yet this, once again, Chris Shula, out of nowhere, people said, oh, it's nepotism. He doesn't belong as a defensive coordinator. Remember I said that was bullshit? This is why. You can say all that, and that's great. Good for you. But Chris Shula absolutely belongs as defensive coordinator. He has been absolutely killing it down the stretch. And once again, this is Sean McVay promoting a guy from within. This is what I'm talking about. The best coaches don't let any surroundings or any of these things become excuses. They find ways. The Rams lost a 24-23 heartbreaker to the Lions on the road last year, and they followed it up this year without Aaron Donald, with lesser talent, according to most people. They were wrong, by the way, because they watch 3 Rams games a year, and then they act like they know what the team is about. But regardless, according to the public opinion of non-Rams fans, this was a worse team that didn't have its star player. They were supposed to take a step back. And now here they are. They've won their 11th game of the year. They just beat a 14-win team twice to do it this season. They also beat the Bills. But, yeah, they haven't played anybody all year, whatever. This is what I'm talking about. Like, right now, this is what I'm talking about. When it comes to Sean McVay, he's just built differently. And if you're an organization, how do you not reassess your situation? I'm just saying. I don't know how you don't reassess where you're going, the direction you're going in, the coach you're going with, when you watch what Sean McVay is doing. What he's doing is insane. And another thing, I actually really want to point this out, because we are going to get into the different dynamics of not playing the starters week 18 and how there was so much blowback about that. And I maintained the course, and I said, nope, this is the right approach. And we're going to talk about some other things. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And I'll say it over and over and over again until I'm blue in the face. Sean McVay, like any head coach, new head coach, had the right to pick his own GM. That's always the case, right? It seems like they always let the coach pick the GM, unless you're the Jaguars, and then you, for whatever reason, hire Trent Baalke and keep him. No idea why that even happened. But with, the Rams and Sean McVay, they kept Les Snead. Les Snead, who was a part of the Fisher era. And Les Snead proved his worth. A 30-year-old head coach didn't become a hot shot, didn't act like a know-it-all, and kept Les Snead on board, didn't force him out. He could have. Just like guys like Tyler Higbee, who he didn't draft. He didn't force out Higbee. He didn't force out Havenstein. This is what I'm talking about. This is what makes him differently. This is what makes him different. So I hope everybody who saw this game tonight that is a, director of personnel or whatever in the NFL, they really sit there and think, is the ultimate goal to win a Super Bowl? Do you actually care? Because if you're okay with being 500, then by all means go about with your same old head coach. But if you're actually trying to win a Super Bowl, go out and try and find the next Sean McVay. Probably doesn't exist. But if you don't have a culture builder like Sean McVay, I can tell you right now, you might not find Sean McVay, but you might be able to find a culture builder. And if you don't hire said culture builder, it won't matter what you do. Because building a culture is all the battle. It's not half the battle. It's all the battle. It's the entire battle. Just look at Kyle Shanahan. Shanahan, I think, is a good coach. I don't think he's a culture builder. I think that's why the Patriots. It's why the 49ers haven't won. They have not won a Super Bowl yet. It's that simple. So when you look at this team and you wonder how on earth did they figure out a way to get this done? And how did they figure out a way to get this done considering all the things that they were going through in the fashion they did? This was utter dominance. How did this happen? It's because a lot of different variables. You have the right players, the talent, all of that. But it starts at the top. And if Sean McVay can't lead this team loses. It's that simple. Sean McVay made some great decisions in this game, especially to go for it on fourth down, force the 5-yard penalty, jumping off sides. There are things like that, man. We forget about them because they were early in the game, but those things do matter, regardless of what anyone says. So, yeah, I can't stress enough. I think the world of Sean McVay. And I think the world so much so, I mean, I said it in my roundtable, or not roundtable, good God, my mailbag. And what I say in my mailbag, there was a great question that was asked, ended up being the title of the video. If you could change an outcome of any of the 3 Rams Super Bowls, would you change any of them? And which one would you change? And I said the 79 one. And the reason I said that was because I wouldn't want to disrupt anything that's going on currently. If I change 2018, Matthew Stafford never becomes a Ram. If I change 2001, I don't think Sean McVay finds himself to the Rams. So I would say 1979 because I'm thinking from the perspective of I don't want to let these guys go. I don't want to lose these guys. I feel so freaking good about this team. I feel so freaking good about the duo of Matthew Stafford and Sean McVay that I wouldn't do anything to jeopardize that. It's really that simple. And tonight just further, emphasizes that. And while I'm sure the offense wanted to score more points, have more yards, all that, they did what was required of them in this game. The defense was like, all right, let us be and they let them eat. They totally ate. That was the craziest thing, is that they were eating back when the Vikings could run the football. But then you get up by, 24, 21, and now Sam Darnold has to throw it, and he wasn't able to do that earlier in the game, so now that this has changed, he's not going to be able to do it now. I feel bad for the guy. I genuinely feel bad for Darnold. He lost so much money over the last 2 weeks alone. He might never be looked at the way he was the first 15, 16 weeks of the season. I feel for him. But unfortunately, this is the NFL. It's a tough business. We watched the best offensive player in the league and Todd Gurley go down after being the most dominant player 2 years in a row. He didn't even win a Super Bowl. He didn't get a chance. It's a tough business. Hopefully Tyler Higbee's okay, but there you go. Tyler Higbee's barely played in the playoffs because he always gets some freak injury. He didn't get a chance to play in the Super Bowl. Comes back now, gets hurt again. He was having a huge game. Reminiscent to Odell Beckham Jr. in the Super Bowl. Tears his ACL, has never been the same. Robert Woods, same deal. So the league, the The NFL, sports in general are not fair. There's a lot of things that go south. Kurt Warner didn't get a chance to turn it around with the Rams. He broke his pinky. Mike Martz gave up on him, put Bulger back in. That was the end of Kurt Warner. Then he gets a chance to go to Arizona and do his thing, obviously. But he worked for that. He was a journeyman, just placeholder for Eli Manning. He was benched when they were, 5-4? And Eli Manning took over, and I don't believe they won another game that year. So yes, things are unfortunate, things happen, and things are unfair. But that's the thing. I just give this team a lot of credit. It was a lot of fun to watch this game. This game was entertaining. This game was really fun. And at no point in this game did you have any sort of really, they're going to lose this. Even when you saw that dreaded 27-3, I never once thought, oh yeah, this is going to be the Buccaneers game. You know what I thought? It's 27-3. The Rams gave that up in the divisional round in Tampa against the Buccaneers. Well, the good news is the guy who gave that up, big reason, 2 fumbles, Cam Akers, was on the other team. In addition to that, Tom Brady was on the other sideline. Say what you will about Sam Darnold. I really think he's a good quarterback. I like him. He is not Tom Brady. So I wasn't sitting there like, oh, crap. We're screwed. They're screwed. This is over. No, not at all. Was not at all worried. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much that. But I do want to now touch on the people that complained about the Rams sitting their starters in Week 18. Oh, we're going to come out all rusty. Man, I don't ever want to hear that ever again. If they didn't come out rusty, considering everything they went through this week, not sitting there, not playing their starters, I never want to hear that ever again. Ever again. And what did I tell you guys? I said over and over again, a lot of people agreed with me on this and even said this. Stafford wasn't healthy. He was banged up. That's why he didn't play well the last 3 games. Do you think he just magically turned it on because it was the playoffs? Maybe. But mainly it's because of what happened. He took a huge shot against the 49ers. He took some big shots against the Jets. He took, some shots against the Cardinals. Stafford was banged up. That's simple. So they needed to give him some time. And guess what? It worked out. He looked freaking awesome when he was given time. Now, I think Whittington and Tutu Atwell need to play next game way more. And I do think they have a discrepancy in the wide receiver room right now because it seems like Puka Nacua is kind of the only one really doing anything. But like I said, we want to keep this positive. I'm not going to get into that. I'm going to do a separate video throughout the week on that. Because I'm not at all, after a 27-9 win against a 14-win team, after everything the Rams have gone through, I'm not going to sit here and start rattling off things I have issues with. I'm just not going to do that. So Stafford looked great. Did he go God mode? No. Did he have to go God mode? Also no. And I got to give the Vikings credit because they held the Rams receivers in check. They held their offense overall in check. I also will say that they had 20 fewer plays than the Vikings, so that had something to do with it. But yeah. Man, and I'm so happy for not just the city of LA, but I'm so happy for the Rams fans as well that made the trek to Arizona. Wasn't easy. A lot of people, helping out others in the community, worried about their homes, all of that. And they just are like, you know what? The Rams need me. I'm going to be in attendance and I'm going to witness something crazy. And you know what? They did. There was an allure of playing at State Farm Stadium, not because of State Farm. No, we're not going to get into that. But there was an allure of playing there, knowing this probably, hopefully never happens again. But it was something special about getting a playoff home game that was played in your rival's house. And there's no dig on the Cardinals at all. And as a matter of fact, from here on out, I don't want to hear a single soul from the Rams fan base rip Cardinals fans. I don't want to hear a single soul from the Rams fan base rip that organization, because the Cardinals went above and beyond. And there's always going to be people that say, well, they got, they made out too. They got to host a playoff game and all of that. And yes, that's true. But you know what they didn't have to do? They didn't have to turn their team store into a Rams store. Did you guys see that? They didn't, all the signage and everything was great. They easily could have put the NFL Shield logo in the middle. Would have had no issue with it. They painted the LA logo in the Cardinals stadium. To me, that is just incredible. I have so much respect for that organization for doing that. I mean, that was so cool. So cool. I just realized that I didn't have any of my heads-up display that I normally do. But no, it was so cool to see. And like I said, there was some sort of extra special, kind of aura about this game, playing it, because this just doesn't happen. For what it's worth, the Rams are 4-0 when they wear the royal and yellow. Royal and soul with the pants. 4-0 in the playoffs, so that's pretty good. But man, that was so awesome to see. I just thought it was so cool. There was even Cardinal fans rooting for the Rams. I mean, obviously, if you're rooting for the Rams as a Cardinals fan, you're probably of the assumption they're not going to go very far. You're having a hard time rooting against the home team in your stadium. I get it. But it's cool. They deserve a lot of credit. They deserve a ton of credit. And the Rams fans deserve a ton of credit for getting on buses. And Kelly Stafford deserves a ton of credit for picking up these buses and picking up these Rams fans from SoFi. And the same goes for Kevin Demoff and the rest of the Rams organization that scheduled all this. And shout out to friend of the JE Live show, Andrew Whitworth, who had a great speech before the game, and Aaron Donald and, his family for showing up at this game and cheering on the Rams. There was just so much. This really just felt like a kind of this was a Rams takeover. The Vikings may have outnumbered the Rams fans this time around. There's a lot of Vikings fans because Minnesota, the retirement home is essentially, or not retirement home, but during the winter, their winter home is essentially in Arizona, which makes sense. But I still thought the Rams fans showed up and showed out, and they were loud, and it was fun to watch. And I give Joe Buck and Troy Aikman a lot of credit because I thought this was a really fun event. I thought they did a good job. Troy Aikman was mega based. I want to give him all the props in the world. I will find the exact quote because it was great. He's probably, I don't know if he'll get fined, but it was still funny as hell. Those striped guys out there, basically he was saying how they're really trying to, extend this game. Those striped guys out there really trying to extend this game. So shout out to Troy Aikman for calling out the BS. We could all smell it from a mile away. 10 penalties to 2 when the Rams are the most disciplined team in the NFL. Kind of ridiculous. It also kind of totally defeats the whole ideology from the Seahawks fans that the Rams get all the calls and everything, and they've had the biased officiating when the officiating looked pretty one-sided to me this time around. So yeah, I just really, really feel good about this team right now. There's a lot of different things that they can do that they didn't do in this game. I don't know if they're saving it for next week or what have you. But Jordan Whittington was barely used. Tutu Atwell, I didn't even see on the field once. They can get those guys involved more. Again, they only had the ball, it was 52 plays they had. 72 for the Vikings. I mean, that's crazy. So, yeah, I really feel good about where they're at. And it's like I said in the last video, guys, regardless of what you think about this team, regardless of how the season ends, they're not going anywhere. They're here to stay. They rebuilt on the fly. The only thing they have to do is when the time comes, they're going to have to replace Matthew Stafford with a quarterback. They have the head coach, the best head coach in the NFL. There's nobody I would rather have over him, especially with his age. He's a cheat code. And with him comes having all of these coaches that you know because he has a great rapport with the coaching community and finding these guys. You have no issue. But in addition to that, you got Jared Verse long term. You got Braden Fisk. You got Kobe Turner, right? You got guys like that. You got guys like Puka Nacua and Steve Avila, right? Kevin Dotson. I just really feel good about this team. I think Whittington is going to be a huge part of it too. Kyron Williams. It's that simple. So there's a lot of good happening. Quentin Lake balled out. He absolutely did. Anyway, let's get back to Super Chats. I went off on a tangent there, but you get my point. Retro Schmetro with the 2. Thank you. Victory Shades are stunting. Thank you. Chacho. I guess Chacho was complaining about my Victory Shades. Oh, that's a bummer. Ruiz, thank you for the 2. Dan Campbell will see the Vikes after commies win. I don't know if that is socially acceptable for me to say commies on a live broadcast, but the Commanders, yeah. You know what's funny is the last time the Rams played a 2 seed in the playoffs, they went on to play a 6 seed in the NFC title game at SoFi Stadium and then beat them and went on to win the Super Bowl against a 4 seed. So I guess it's Rams-Texans confirmed, which was my preseason pick. So if that happens, I'm going to laugh hysterically because I don't believe that. I don't believe that would ever happen. I don't think the Texans are that good, and definitely not without Tank Dell. But I guess stranger things have certainly happened. Thank you for the 2, man. HAV, thank you for the 10. Defense thoroughly claps Sam's cheeks. D has been on fire. Yeah, no, they've been great. They have been great. Philip Spinola, thank you for the 5. We get Commanders versus Rams NFC title game. Rams win the NFC Championship in LA as a fairy tale ending to SoFi for the year and go into the Super Bowl. We'll see, Philip. I think they're going to the Super Bowl regardless. I don't know if they're going to play the Lions. I don't know if they're going to play the Commanders. I do think they beat the Philadelphia Eagles this week. I think it's going to be an ugly game, but I think they're equipped to do it. And I think when this defense shows up, as long as they can stop Saquon Barkley, they can be as dangerous as anybody, but they're going to need their guys to be healthy. Ahkello Witherspoon needs to be back. They need Tyler Higbee on the other side. I believe the last time Tyler Higbee played in Philadelphia, he had 3 receiving touchdowns against them in one game. So Higbee likes Philly if we're just going based on that. We'll see if he is good to go. You know he's going to try to play. You heard Andrew Whitworth on the live stream. He basically said, look, he was doing everything he could to get back for the Super Bowl. That's insane. He shouldn't have even been close. But Alex Preciado, thank you for the 10. My daughter was born December 13th, the same night we ended the 49ers playoff hopes and turned 1 month today. Looking forward to, happy 1 month to your daughter. Looking forward to an NFC championship against the Lions and another Super Bowl. Yeah, we'll see. The Lions do not have it easy, man. Do you guys seem to remember? Maybe not, but I'll tell you right now. If you forgot, I was telling you guys there's something about the Commanders I'm not trying to have anything to do with. So not only, think about this, not only did the Rams get to rest their starters, they dodged the Commanders in doing so. Because that Seahawks team wasn't beating the starting Rams. There's no way, no how. I think Jaden Daniels is special. And I think Dan Quinn has that team playing like a veteran team. I kept saying, what was the thing I kept saying throughout the week, going into that? I said, this Commanders team, everyone looks at the young quarterback and they say they're young. They're not young. They got veterans all over the place. Dorrance Armstrong Jr., Dante Fowler Jr., Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chin, Frankie Louvu, Tyler Biotish, Terry McLaurin. They have vets all over. They're not young. They're not young at all. Absolutely would not overlook that team. And I'll tell you right now, the Commanders are not a good matchup for the Lions. Because the one thing the Lions do is they can push the pocket, they can get into the trenches, the interior rush gets to you, they blitz. Well, do you know who absolutely is going to crush you if you blitz him? Jaden Daniels. Because what they'll do is they'll feel you out, how the game goes. And then at some point or another, Jaden Daniels is going to be put into that empty set, empty backfield. He's going to play in the spread. And when you're in the spread, you're going to be able to see the field a little bit better. It creates more opportunities. And then when you see the field better, it's easier for you to run. So he's going to be scrambling all over that Lions defense. I'm telling you that right now. And the way, his freaking ball placement, man, it's dangerous. He can make any throw in the book. Say what you will about Jaden Daniels. That guy is the real deal. He is rookie of the year, in my opinion. Offensive rookie of the year for sure. Josh Chapman, thank you for the 5. Eagles play ball control with the Rams, and they bleed the clock. They beat us twice running the whole game. We need to do the same to the Eagles. I agree. And it's a smart approach. And you know what? I think their grass, I think the Rams playing on grass, which, by the way, that was an underreported and underestimated thing and underrated. The Rams played on grass in this game. The Cardinals have grass. They don't have artificial turf anymore. Remember, there was a big issue with the grass because of the Super Bowl. The Eagles and the Chiefs played in Arizona. Remember that? And they were slipping all over the place. Well, now they've had time, right? Because right before that game, it was not good. They rushed it. Wasn't great. They've had time. This grass is good. This grass is really good. I've only heard great things. So we'll see how things go, as far as that looks in Philly. But I think it is a benefit to the Rams, who just played on that field. Whereas opposed to that, you had the Vikings who just played on turf last week. So who knows? Mike A., thank you for the 10. Have to laugh at idiots online saying the Rams stole game plan from Lions D. I'll stop you right there. Welcome to the NFL. It is a copycat league. Pretty much, if your game plan, you mean by rushing the quarterback who struggles when he faces pressure, then yeah, they stole that game plan. But then again, you already kind of explained who's probably the idiots that are saying that, so I'm not shocked. Rams wouldn't think to rush 4 with stunts like they have all year and bring blitz in long down situations. Awesome game. I absolutely agree with you, Mike. Appreciate you. Man, and that's really the thing that what it comes down to is the Rams before the bye week were blitzing fewer than just about anybody in the league. So what changed? Well, Kello went into the starting lineup. They traded away Tre'Davious White. They started getting guys comfortable like a Jalen McCullough and a Cameron Kinchins. They started playing Omar Spates. They actually had a defense that they trusted, and now they felt that it was fully unlocked, untapped, and now you could actually run your defense how you were intending to run your defense. It's that simple. They weren't able to do it before because they had to scheme, and I said this, and I meant no disrespect to Trey White. He's not the same corner. He's not an all-pro anymore. This is not 2017 Trey White. Or 2019 Trey White. But what I kept saying is that when Trey White was struggling, okay, the Rams quite literally would scheme their defense around keeping him, essentially keeping him safe. So if teams tried to throw against him, he had protection. They're okay putting Kello on an island. They're okay putting Kobe on an island. They're okay putting Darius on an island. They're okay with that. They trust them. It allows them to bring a safety rushing downward. And that's what's happened. The safety blitzing, the corner blitzing, Kello's corner blitz today. That's him recognizing immediately, hey, look, I I could just get in here. I have an opportunity. He leaves his man knowing he's got safety help for TJ Hawkinson. And then right then and there, he makes the big time play. The strip sack leads to Jared Verst running that. I think it was 50 plus yards, doing this crazy ass backflip. Shout out to Jared Verst for, I knew as soon as he did that flip, I was like, that's going to be my thumbnail. That will be my thumbnail. Even though it doesn't tell the full story of the game, I think the thumbnail that probably encapsulates the game the most is anything that has a picture of Sam Darnold being in the grasp of the Rams defense. But that was too freaking cool for me to pass up. So there is that. Elpers Cat, thank you for the 2. If Shula holds Barkley to 100 yards, forgive me, Shula. If Shula holds Barkley to do 100 yards, under 100 yards, we'll say. If he holds Barkley under 100 yards and the Rams do their thing and they win, I would expect Shula to maybe be the favorite, kind of out of nowhere to be a favorite for the Cowboys job. That's what I would expect, but we'll see. Dreamchild, thank you for the 2 and thank you for the 5 back to back there. How about Ethan Evans punts? He was goated tonight. Ethan Evans is just one of those, he has the thankless job of being the Rams punter because the defense is so flashy and the kicker is so good because regardless of what you say about Josh Carty, he's made 15 kicks in a row. The dude is an absolute stud. Defense is fun. Offense still has its stars. No one talks about Ethan Evans. He punted 5 times today, an average of 50.2, and 3 of those 5 punts were inside the 20. He was absolutely insane. Should have had 4. Whittington couldn't get off his block as much as I love him. Was very close. Touchback there. But just outstanding stuff from Ethan Evans. He is a weapon in itself. And you got to give a lot of credit to Chase Blackburn who found him. He was at the small school and Chase Blackburn found him. And Ethan Evans went to Wingate. You know, how do you even find a guy like that? Dude's also huge. Man, this guy's jacked. He's 6'3", 250 pounds. I mean, he'll knock you on your ass. So, huge. We love Ethan Evans around here. This is an Ethan Evans fan channel. No, I'm kidding. But still, we love him. Garrett Bishop, thank you for the 5. The roughing the kicker call followed by the Kobe pick was one of the best ball don't lie moments I have seen in a minute. That's how you win for LA. Totally agree. I think I said ball don't lie 3 times in this game. Whether you realize it or not, the one to Josh, God, what the hell's his name? The tight end. Josh Oliver. The ball's coming out. And the last time, the last thing I was told was that it needs to be conclusive, and the ruling on the field is going to stay the same if it's not conclusive evidence to overturn it. That ball was coming out. It was very, very, very slow. You could barely see it, but you could see it somewhat coming out. It wasn't easy, but you could see it starting to slide. They should have kept the call on the field. Should have been a fumble on Josh Oliver. And then the roughing the kicker call is a bad call. And here's why. Because one, not only is Jacob Hummel blocked into the kicker, that needs to be reviewed. That needs to be a reviewable play without the need of a challenge flag. Because if you shove a guy into your own kicker, first off, asshole move. Second, that is not roughing the kicker. You threw me. So I'm being penalized because I'm not strong and you could toss me like a rag doll, or you get me into a situation like that. BS. He was thrown into him. And then, they were trying to say, well, he might have skeeted. No, he didn't. He was tossed into him. That's the first issue. The second issue is that's not roughing. He made contact not with his plant leg, with his kicking leg. His plant leg had already hit the ground. His plant leg had already hit the ground. He made contact with his kicking leg first. Therefore, that would have been running into the kicker, and it would have been a 5-yard penalty. And then the Bo Limmer penalty. Oh, you had to bring that up, Tom? Really? Oh, my God. Just when I thought I was over that, I'll never be over that. The Bo Limmer penalty is insanity. because what you're basically saying is that you're saying it's a late hit because you don't actually realize how dangerous football is. Football is a violent sport. I've given John Hussey the benefit of the doubt, but he was abysmal tonight. He was awful tonight. And the guy's a good guy. He does some really good work. He works with pets, I believe. I think he works with his own shelter. I'm going to look it up. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt here because I know he does some good stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, he's the founder of Cuddly, a company that helps animal shelters raise funds and organize wish lists. Cuddly sends aids to animal rescue nonprofits around the world. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. Absolutely. But he was awful tonight, objectively. Awful. So that was the thing. The Bo Limmer play pissed me off because that, to me, at that point in time, felt like it was like, yeah, we don't want the Vikings to get blown out in this game. It sure felt like it was going that way, though. And it never really let up. I mean, goodness. The Bo Limmer block is a great block on a player who's not defenseless. He was still squared, ready for the block, and you didn't blow the whistle. How can that be? Think about this. How can that be a late hit when you never established that it was late? A late hit is when I blew the whistle, you took forever, boom, you hit the guy. The whistle wasn't blown yet, and Tyler Higbee still wasn't down, and he got hit. So is that a late hit on Tyler Higbee? It wasn't late. It was just bad, man. Just bad. And my biggest issue with that is what it basically does at that point in the game is now you have to take the field goal. It nullifies that because it's a 15-yard penalty. It's a brutal penalty. The holds. I joked. I think the hold on Davis Allen was the first hold of the game that actually was legitimate. The one on, oh my God, the one on Whittington was so bad. Kyron Williams had 100 yards in this game just based on that run, and they took it away from him. It's like, of course, Kyron Williams has an explosive, and then you take it away. It's just so frustrating. Anyway, don't want to be too negative because, again, the Rams won this freaking game. Christopher, thank you for the 20, man. Appreciate you. Great win, Jake. Hope Higgs and Nikello can play next week. And check out our new catalog. Ooh. I will have to do that. I'm looking forward to Art the Clown. I don't know where I'm going to put him, but I am looking forward to him. Appreciate you, man. I'll definitely check out the new catalog. For those of you who don't know, I get my masks. There's only one place that I get my masks, except for the Spider-Man one I got it on Amazon because I couldn't find it. But Trick or Treat Studios, we love it. We love Trick or Treat Studios here on this channel. Pennywise, pointing the wrong thing. Pennywise, Michael Myers, 2018. Michael Myers, 1978. That's where I get my masks, in case anybody was wondering. Christopher Zeffro is the man, and he runs Trick or Treat Studios. So if you're ever interested, definitely check out that website. Like he said, we got a new catalog. Hell yeah. Augie, thank you so much for the 5. Durant and Witherspoon should be our starters at corners. I agree. I absolutely agree. I love D-Will, but I think I prefer those two, yes. But D-Will was really good tonight, too. He gave up a frustrating catch, but he was still really good tonight. Drew, thank you for the 5. I love this team. I love this organization. I love LA. I love our fans. Ram Nation for life and LA strong. Appreciate you, Drew. John Bell, thank you for the 5. Cam Miller, look into him. Heir apparent. We need a dual threat after Stafford. Never heard of Cam Miller. I will be on the lookout. Thank you for that. Boondy, how we doing? Let's go, mate. I put 100 on the Rams to win the lot, 34-1. Oh, you're talking about the whole thing. Okay. 34-1, that would be 3,400. Rams down under. Appreciate you, Boondy. Damn, 34-1. You really love it. SoCal, thank you for the 5. Rams win, but can we talk about Kupp? Got to move on from the dude next year. $30 million a year I can play. I don't want to be negative. Kupp had a huge catch today, but aside from that, to be fair, not really anybody did much of anything because they didn't have the ball that much. But I need to see more. Like, the hope is next week Kupp can do something. I will say, and again, I'll get more into this as the week goes on. This is not a negative show. But you need to see more out of these guys. Like, if I'm going to play Demarcus Robinson, I need to see more out of him. Okay? I need to see more out of Kupp. I mean, Jordan Whittington, there's no way in hell that I'm not starting him today. There's no way hell that I'm not starting Tutu Atwell. And Atwell did not even see the field, I don't believe. So it's just wild to me. I don't really understand what's going on there, but hopefully they figure it out. They watch the tape and are like, all right, our offense was kind of struggling after Higbee left. Let's bring in Whittington more. Let's bring in Atwell. It's time to get those guys some action. I mean, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but you get my point. Junie Junicus, thank you for the 2. Appreciate that. Grady Kessler, thank you for the 2. I'm scared for how our offense plays in the cold. That's fair. To be fair, I was scared of how the offense kind of finished off the game a little bit. Junie Junicus, thank you for the 2 as well. Love you, Jake. Love you too. But I will take the 2018 Super Bowl. That's fair. I wasn't around in 79, but I feel like the loyal, long-time Rams fans deserve it. They were winning the game, and then, of course, the Steelers took over. I think Cromwell dropped an interception. That's what my dad told me, I believe, earlier today. So, yeah, I'll have to go back someday and watch that. But, yeah, I just wouldn't want, like, if they win that 2001 Super Bowl, then they probably stay in St. Louis. So the St. Louis Rams fans would be excited about that. And they wouldn't have Sean McVay, and definitely never would have had Stafford. And if they win in 2018, they don't move off from Goff. They still probably have Goff. They're still probably having some issues. I mean, he'd still be good, but he wouldn't be Stafford. And there's not a quarterback I would take over Matthew Stafford. There isn't. Josh Allen, that might be the only one. But again, I'm talking one game. I need to win it. I love Stafford way too much. HAV, thank you for the 5. Jake, you were so right about the Bo Limmer flag that sent me. That was one of the most one-sided calls. Refs always on our throats. Yeah, well, I will say tonight was a pretty bad day for the people that said the Rams didn't belong. The Rams are helped out by the refs. The Vikings are way better. The Rams will be exposed. The Rams had a negative point differential. The Rams aren't good. Matthew Stafford is washed. The Rams aren't going to do anything without Aaron Donald. The Rams are screwed because they're not playing at home and they're going through everything that they're going through. Pretty bad night to be one of those people, or one of the people that said all of those things, because those people also exist. So there's that. Jay Squirrels, thank you for the 20. Aloha from Hawaii. Aloha. Something about this win was just different. With everything going on, this win just had a different feel. Our defense and Shula played out of their effing minds. Let's get some revenge next week. I would like to be avenged. I traveled 3,000 miles to see the Rams beat the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football, and all I got was a lump of coal. No, I'm kidding. I really appreciate those seats. Obviously, Ruiz knows that. If you're still in here, I went with Ruiz. He got me the ticket. Really can't thank him enough for that experience. That was still great. But, man, 37-20. We know they're better than that. That was a snowball effect game. I met with a lot of people, Jack included. It was awesome. HAV sat like, what are the odds, man? HAV was literally like right in front of me. It's crazy. John Bell, thank you for the 5. Cam Miller played for the same college as Carson Wentz. Oh. North Dakota State, huh? I feel like Bruce from, what's his name? Bruce from Nemo, right? Finding Nemo? Wasn't Bruce in that? Yeah. Like, ooh, that smells good. Like, I don't know. I'm a sucker for North Dakota State quarterbacks. I mean, Easton Stick I wasn't going crazy over, but Trey Lance and Carson Wentz are some of my favorite quarterbacks I've ever scouted. So there's that. I'm not going near Philly after one of the members of the round table. Man. My only highlight of that Eagles game was meeting you, Jake. Thank you, Garrett. It was great meeting you too, man. I knew exactly who you were right away. It's funny, we've been following each other on Instagram for a while. Oh yeah. I was hyped to see you. Definitely was hyped to see you. So let's take a look. Now we have the Elite 8, if you will. The divisional round is underway. Saturday, January 18th, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Texans, Chiefs. Chiefs are 8-0 at home, 15-2. Texans are 10-7, 5-4 on the road. I'll take the Chiefs. They're 7.5-point favorites. I'm still going to take the Chiefs in that one. And then Commanders, Lions. Oh my God. Chat, you're going to have to help me out. Commanders or Lions? Like, where do we go there? This is too hard. The Lions are 9.5-point favorites. I just think the disrespect is real. The Commanders are good on the road. They won 13 games so far. The Lions have won 15 games so far. They've lost twice at home, but they're really good at home. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I think there's a real good chance the Commanders upset the Lions. I don't know, man. Oh, I can't even decide. That is so tough. I see a lot of Commanders in the... I just think the 9.5 is insane. I'm leaning Commanders right now. Oh, it's going to be a barn burner. It is. BSR is being quick to remind everyone it's the Elite 7 and the Texans, which I can't say you're wrong. Guys, be sure to hit the thumbs up button. We have about 400 likes, but we have 1,300 plus people in here. So obviously those likes really do help out. They let YouTube know that it's worth recommending, and then voila, this shows up on people's feeds. So it's free. Hit that like button if you like this at any point. Also, we're taking donations as well. Link is in the description below for the fire relief. We're about to wrap it up. We're $4 away from hitting 11,000 on the GoFundMe. 6,000 was donated on behalf because of the match from Fantasy Cares. So that was huge. Grady Kessler, thank you for the 5. I think wow. The Google Chrome tab just totally exploded, and now I don't have it. I was following the super chats, and it's just like, nah, you're not. It's okay. I think I'm going to cry when Stafford retires. He is the most underrated quarterback of all time. You can just tell he wants to win, and a lot of guys don't have that. It's true. He does whatever it takes to win. Guy's the toughest dude I think I've ever seen. It's incredible what he's gone through. I just hope he's able, when he does retire, to be somewhat like not hurt all the time. Like, I am concerned by that because he has gone through a lot of injuries. That is not going to age well with him. So I just hope he gets to live a long and, safe and pain-free, or as pain-free as it gets life, because you forget, man, every hit these guys take, it's taxing. Alex, Double X Alex, my guy, thank you for the 5. Not going to lie, I was laughing my ass off after they called the face mask for Kyron super late, but they didn't do the same for the Vikings in week 8, LOL. Just imagine, by the way, Alex, if they don't call that, one penalty for 5 yards would have been the game for the Vikings. One penalty for 5 yards. I can't say too much. It's not really my place, but I can say I feel pretty good Akello's going to be ready to go this weekend against the Eagles. I feel pretty good about that. P-Town Brown, thank you for the 1. Appreciate you. I was waiting for that yawn to happen. It was overdue. I don't know. By the way, since I said that, we ended up going over 11,000 raised. 161 donations, man. You guys are incredible. I am so excited because I have to wait until GoFundMe lets me deposit it into the Downtown Sports Network LLC bank account. Once it does that, I'll be able to quite literally, because I have a card and everything for the bank account, I cannot wait to donate this money to these charities. And in case you don't know, the charities this will be going to: the LA Fire Department Foundation, the LA Regional Food Bank, the California Fire Foundation, and the Pasadena Humane Society. I am so stoked to be able to donate to those 4. Thanks to you guys. The crowdfunding has been incredible. Incredible crowdfunding. This was mission accomplished if I've ever seen one. But this doesn't happen without you guys. And it definitely doesn't happen without my co-host, Alexis Kraft of Downtown Rams. I don't know if she got enough praise for it, because I think a lot of people just assumed it was all my idea. And while I had the idea and I said I'd go live, Alexis also had the idea that she wanted to go live and she wanted to do something. And we came to the idea that, we're going to do a 4-hour stream. Well, if you guys didn't see, we ended up going 9 hours in that stream, and we don't regret a single minute of that. We had such a great time talking with you guys, hanging out with you guys. Really, really enjoyed that. And we ended up raising a ton of money. So, this all is for a good cause. And like I said, I just cannot freaking wait. I cannot wait to donate this. And once I do, all receipts of the donations will be disclosed. They will be on social media. They will be on the GoFundMe page. Fantasy Cares has already announced the donations. They already sent me all the screenshots. So that'll happen. We'll put those screenshots probably in the GoFundMe page. But yeah, feel really good about it. Just wanted to use my platform for a good thing. So did Alexis, and that's what we came down to. And, it's not going to be easy, but, if we all work together and we try to help out this community, Hopefully we can cut down how long it takes, the amount of time it takes to build back up. Because while we don't live in LA, we love LA and we love you guys. We know a lot of you guys live in LA because you guys are awesome. And man, just the freaking show. Like, I don't want to hear another soul ever criticize LA fans ever again. Like, the way LA fans showed out at this game. Because again, don't get me wrong, the Vikings fans showed out too. A lot of them already lived in Arizona, like we talked about, retirement, all that, winter. But man, did the Rams fans show out. Rams organization. This is a good example of when times are tough, the plans change. How well do you operate in the face of adversity? And the Rams organization, the Rams fans, Stan Kroenke donating $1 million to the LA Fire Department Foundation. All just great stuff. Incredibly awesome stuff. Man, what a win. What a win. But anyway, I'm stalling. I'm going to go with the Commanders. Man, I don't know why. I feel like the Lions are the better team, but Jaden Daniels to me, with the veterans that they have, Dan Quinn, I think is going to be better than Dan Campbell late in games. Man, I'm gonna go with the Commanders. I'm gonna say the Chiefs beat the Texans 23-13. I'm gonna say the Commanders win a barn burner against the Lions. We were going to go 31-27. I'm going to say 31-27 Commanders. And that would mean Ravens, Bills. I'm going to go with the Bills. That's going to be a tough game, but it's in Buffalo. So I'm going to take the Bills here. How do I want to go about this? I'm going to take the Bills 27. I'm going to take the Bills 34-23. I think the Bills are better. I think they'll win by multiple possessions. I'll take the Bills 34-23. And then last but certainly not least, I'm going to take the Rams to beat Philly. After this game, man. I hate to be boring, but I'm going to take 24. I'm going to go 24-23. I mean, I think Philly's a good football team. I think this comes down to the wire, and I think the Rams win by a point. 24-23 Rams over the Eagles. Rams move on to host at SoFi Stadium, one game away from the Super Bowl, to play the Commanders. So, final thing, I got the Bills defeating the Chiefs. That'll be in Arrowhead. I'm going to take the Bills 27, Chiefs 23. And I'm going to have the Rams taking down the Commanders And I'm going to say that game ends up being kind of crazy. I'm going to say it ends up being 30-27. And then I have the Rams and Bills in the Super Bowl. California Kid. The Ravens trounced the Bills when the Bills had half of their top guys out. Like Milano was out. They didn't have, what's his face? Oh, God. Amari Cooper. They were really banged up. I remember that game. I remember that game. Give me the Bills. I'm telling you. Taking the Bills. Bills, Rams, baby. Felt like we got a Super Bowl matchup, Super Bowl preview back in Week 14, I think it was. Nah, I think the Bills are going to beat the Ravens. Brian, thank you for the 2. All Rams fans hit the thumbs up button. Jake is the best follow. I appreciate that. I try to be. P-Town Brown, thank you for the 5. Jake, also the Rams have a 6-game winning streak away from SoFi. Ooh, that's a knowledge nugget. Appreciate you, P-Town Brown. Grady Kessler, thank you for the 5. Am I a bad fan for wanting to play the Lions? No, you're absolutely not. I absolutely hated them and want revenge. Jared Goff is not a good quarterback and will never win a Super Bowl. I know it. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback, but I would rather have Stafford. With that said, I don't think you're a bad fan for wanting to play the Lions. I don't even see the correlation there. No offense. I think you're just a passionate fan that wants revenge. I just kind of am like, you know what? If they play the Lions, they play the Lions. I'll say this. Here's the perk. You want to know the perk about the Commanders playing the Rams besides the home playoff game? If the Rams, God forbid, lose to the Commanders, I can root for the Commanders in the Super Bowl. I really like Dan Quinn. I like that team. I like what they've built. I think Bobby Wagner is all class. I love Jaden Daniels. Like, that team is rootable. That's not even a word, but you can feel good about that team. I just, like, to me, if it's Rams Lions, then it's like the end of the world, because if the Rams do lose to the Lions, now you have to worry about the Lions in the Super Bowl. Because, God, if some of those fans are great. I'm not saying that, all fans are bad, but some of those fans and a lot of those fans, you're like, oh, I don't want them to be happy. Man, can you imagine the heinous things they would say after winning? Because that's how it works. They've won twice, and they say more shit than the Rams fans say. I don't understand how that works, but that's how it works. Abigail Vickers, thank you for the 5. Whose jersey did you wear tonight? Glock 9, baby. I had to hit him with the number 9 Matthew Stafford jersey. Bring on the effing Eagles. Hell yeah. I feel good about the game. I told you guys I felt really calm, cool, collected about the Vikings game. Towards the end of the season, I mean, there comes a point where, you look at a team and you're like, oh, they only have 10 wins and this team has 14. But the way they're playing right now, they would have had at least 14 and maybe 15 wins. And that's with an offense that still just doesn't seem like it's where you want it to be. They had their moments early on, and thank God they did, but that offense is still underachieving. But this is one of the best defenses in football right now. And who would have thought? This young-ass defense with a rookie defensive coordinator, and this is one of the best defenses in all of football. Who would have thought? Like, I had them being top 15, and I thought they'd have a top 3 offense and win 14 games. Or I think it was 13 games, 13-4. People mock me for that, but they might actually win 13 games, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, right? Now, I also want to bring something to your attention, because there's a lot going on about how the Rams have a really bad point differential. Well, the funny thing is, negative 19, they now have a negative 1 point differential right now, following this game. Wouldn't you know it? Still negative, but now it's negative 1. If they win again, it'll be above. It'll be in the plus. It'll be in the green. The point differential thing is kind of, it doesn't tell the full story. And the reason being is because this team wasn't really healthy for the majority of the year. And I think this is the 4th game they've had a fully healthy offensive line. Hopefully that stays. But, yeah. Ivan Cervantes, thank you for the 10. Thank you, Jake, for being the best Rams podcaster out there. I appreciate that. I appreciate you for trying to help people out here in LA. Let's go Rams. Of course. I'm happy to. I'm hoping, we can continue to do that. And obviously, I got to make money on this channel. I'm full aware of that. But maybe, we start doing a little bit more giving back, more charity work and stuff like that. I mean, hey, I'm game. I just want to help. I want to use my platform for good, not evil. Hopefully I do that. Hopefully I don't let you guys down. I don't think I ever have, but who knows. Fire Poet, thank you for the 2. I think Akers played well. Would love to see him back. Did he? I felt like he had a nice run or two. Oh, man. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm not, tired. I got plenty of sleep. I mean, Cam ran 5 carries for 39. Yeah, that's a good day. 7.8 yards per carry. I mean, it just looks like they didn't use him enough. I was a little confused why they didn't run the ball more, but at the same time, the game got away from them. But even before it got away from them, they weren't really running the ball. Who would have known? TJ Hawkinson and Tyler Higbee, both guys whose seasons were over at the end of the year last year, they were the leading receivers of the game. You know what a lot of people aren't going to notice? The Rams held Justin Jefferson to under 60 yards. Jordan Addison had 29 yards. Johnny Munt almost had as many yards as Jordan Addison. That's huge, man. Crazy. What else is crazy is that we have over 6,000 views, by the way, on this. We're getting close to 7,000 views on this video. So really appreciate everyone showing up, showing out. We'll have plenty of stuff this week. So looking forward to that, obviously. And, the fundraiser, we'll have that stuff, all the details, everything posted once GoFundMe approves the bank account, allows us to withdraw and all of that. Once we have all of the donations set, because, again, we have to wait for GoFundMe. Once we have it all set, we will share it all. Everything will be good, all of that. But, man, it's been a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this win. This was huge for LA. This was huge for the fan base, huge for the Rams, huge for my channel, huge for this community. Just awesome stuff. Really awesome. It pays. It does pay to actually stick behind your team through thick and thin, as long as you believe in it. Maybe sometimes you don't, whatever. I know a lot of people did. I know a lot of people didn't bail on this team when they could have. 1-4, trade Cooper Kupp, trade Matthew Stafford, all that starts coming out. I always push back against that. I always believe that this team could still get to the playoffs when they struggled. I had them winning the Super Bowl before the season. Now I have them getting back to the Super Bowl. Things changed as the season went on, but I never wavered in the fact that I thought they would find their way back to the playoffs because Sean McVay is their head coach and Matthew Stafford is their quarterback. And I've always said, very simple, I've always said one thing. It's all about health. If these guys stay healthy, they can do it. They can accomplish a ton. If they can't stay healthy, well, that changes things. So currently, right now, we're hoping when it comes to Tyler Higbee, he's going to be okay. We'll see. You know, Ahkello Witherspoon, I feel good about him. We'll see. And yes, Jack, Kobe was awesome. Both Kobe's, Kobe Turner and Kobe Durant. Kobe Durant with the sack and the interception was, for whatever reason, left off of the ESPN graphic tonight. He was great. This is what they needed, man. You know, you get a statement win like this, you can really build off this. They haven't done this all year. I mean, this is an 18-point victory, and they really, just from beginning to end, never let them into this game. I mean, say what you will, gave up the touchdown, glimmer of hope. This was never a game. This was never a game. The Rams really took over and never looked back. I mean, their wins this year, 13-9, 19-9, 12-6, 44-42, 21-14, 28-22, 26-20, 30-20, 20-15, 27-24. The point being, the biggest wins for the entire season have both come against the Minnesota Vikings. Believe it or not, 10-point win and an 18-point win. They don't happen very often. This team doesn't blow teams out, but this was a blowout. It could have been worse. I'm just saying. With that said, just want to give a special shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's live stream, and hopefully this works. I don't know if it's going to. It, of course, did not. We love that. Absolutely love whatever it's doing right now. That is freaking cool. Love that so much. There we go. Idiotic. I know. Just totally idiotic. Okay. So let's check out Prize Picks, who's, again, the sponsor of today's live stream. You can use my code. It is JKBogan. Simply put, same as all my socials. You're going to get $50 instantly when you play at least a $5 lineup, okay? And you actually right now can get Will Howard for 0.5 yards, which is a freebie here. And you got a lot of stuff this upcoming week for the NFL. Derrick Henry, 96.5 rushing yards. Does he get that against Buffalo? Someone here said Buffalo can't stop Henry. Look at this. Looks like Henry's probably going to get to 100 in this game. Buffalo's not awful against the run, but Derrick Henry is special. We'll give Derrick Henry the nod there. Do we have any Rams ones, though? That's the question. No Rams yet. So let's go to Detroit and Washington here. I like Jaden Daniels here, okay? I like this 2 passing touchdowns. He's hit it in 4 of the last 5. This game doesn't mean anything. This game against Dallas, he barely even played. So he's hit it 4 out of 4 times when he's actually been the starting quarterback. 2, 3, 5, and 2. I think he's going to have another 2 passing touchdown game. So I like him there. I also want to look at this. I don't know where he is. Oh, David Montgomery's coming back. That's why. I'm going to go with, let's see here. I kind of like Amon-Ra St. Brown, even though that those aren't great numbers there. Terry McLaurin. I'm going to go with the stack here. They got McLaurin involved in a big way, had 89 yards. I like McLaurin in this one. I also want to look over at the Kansas City and Houston game, because in order for Houston to be able to do their thing, they're going to have to get things going. And looking at Houston, oh, we should probably take that out. Looking at Houston, I mean, come on. CJ Stroud, 0.5 passing touchdowns. Give me that. So there you go. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can add another one here, Xavier Worthy, if you think he's going to have more than that. He's hitting the 4 straight games. I'm going to say he has more than 3.5 rushing yards. You're good. At that point, you just throw your 5 right in there, and you'd win 90. But in addition to that, you get $50 instantly whether you win or loss. So obviously no Ram stuff yet. Keep an eye on Prize Picks throughout the week. Ram stuff will be added to this. So with that said, appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been a pleasure and a privilege to cover this team throughout the year And I'm glad we get another guaranteed week of covering this team. Just know, regardless of what happens, it's been a fun season. Am I going to say successful? No, because I have I very much believe when you play a game like this game, there's going to be benefits that you're going to reap some rewards from this one. I think this is going to carry over, and I think they're going to play a brand of football that we want to see, and I think they're going to beat the Eagles in their house. That simple. Sean McVay, by the way, is 1-0 in Philadelphia in his tenure, albeit 1-0 means he's only played one game there. But again, can't stress enough, really appreciate you guys. It's been so much fun covering this team. Wild season, a lot of twists and turns, and just a movie, right? But end of the day, Rams found a way. They prevailed from 1-4 to now they are 11-7, and they are knocking on the door to get back to the NFC Championship game, where they did go 2-0 with Sean McVay to this point. So the Rams have lost in the divisional round before. They're 2-1. They lost to the Packers. Aside from that, they beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after the 27-3 meltdown. They found a way to win that. And then, of course, they beat the Dallas Cowboys after everybody all across the media said Ezekiel Elliott is going to absolutely run roughshod of the Rams. And all of a sudden, the Rams not only sold out to stop Ezekiel Elliott in the run game, but they had a run game of their own with Todd Gurley and C.J. Anderson going for a combined 200-plus yards in that game. So those are the 3 times, and keep in mind the game against the Packers, they were in that game at times, and they were playing without Cooper Kupp, who was banged up. They were playing with a very unhealthy Aaron Donald, who was maybe 20% healthy, left the game, gave it a try, could not continue. So things could be very much different. Also, they didn't have Matthew Stafford. So, yeah, I mean, we have not seen Matthew Stafford get past the wild card round since the Super Bowl season. And the last time that happened, they went on a run. We know what happened. So, big game against the Eagles. They've already seen them once. I think that benefits the Rams more than people realize. And I'm excited to see what ends up happening. But you guys take care, and be sure to like, subscribe, comment. You can donate to the fundraiser, help the wildfire relief for, the 4 foundations. The link is in the description below, and I'll see you guys soon. Take care, folks. And once again, the Rams win and advance to the divisional round of the NFC playoffs. Take care, folks.